Okay, Assalamualaikum and good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Doctor.
Hi.
Definitely.
So, as I mentioned in the text in the group, so for today's session, I would like to share with you some tutorial um, for the topic of cash budgets, and if possible, kalau sempat, we do another topic for pro forma, if possible. And if you've watched the video, I think in the video I shared one of the question. Okay, I show step by step how to do it. But for today, I would like to do another question, but I haven't uploaded the question yet in my Guru. So I will share with you the question later. But for today's session, I will share on the screen lah. But I will upload the question in my Guru as well for your reference later. And by the way, I have like you all know, I think I have few classes again. So for example, earlier in the morning, I have another group. Okay, I've done the same thing, but for a different question. Okay, so again, if you free and you want to watch some other tutorial for the same topic, okay, feel free to watch that video later. So I will post the video in YouTube. I guess you guys have the link in my channel too. Later on, I will create one playlist for PFM3023. Not by group, but for the whole, because I have 3 groups, right? So for this semester, I will put it PFM 3023, A211. A211 represents our semester now, and so I will put everything in one playlist, but I will label ataupun I bagi title. For example, I don't know, for today's session, I akan letak 11 November, group, you guys group G kan, so group G. So then you know it's yours lah. But feel free to watch other groups punya session as well, because sometimes I use different example. Okay, so I will upload all the questions. So some question kita buat in our group, and another question maybe I will do it with another group. So yeah, like I said, feel free to watch other groups punya video as well. I will share everything in the playlist later. Right, so for today, let's start with cash budget. One of the topic is about cash budget. Like I said in the video I've shared for Tuesday session, that was for last semester. If I'm not mistaken, I go through the question from the one that I have uploaded already. I can't remember the name of the. I think just open up some question. Okay, the one I uploaded in the system ataupun in my guru is this one. Okay, they have 3 questions. The cash flow, 1 question for cash flows, 1 question for cash budget, and 1 question for pro forma. Okay, and if I'm not mistaken, all 3 is in the videos in terms of how to do it. Okay, and step by step of how to do this question number 2, which is the cash budget, also already discussed in that video. But for today, for you guys group G, all right, so we're gonna do this one, another question. Okay, for Zahra and Fatima. Okay, earlier today, as I said, for the other group, I used this question, MC company. So I will upload this question as well. And as I said, if you want to know the answers, you can watch the video for group I. Okay, for group I. But before you watch the video, perhaps you want to try by yourself first how to do this, and then you can compare your answer against the actual answer we've discussed in the group I punya video. Okay, but for you guys, kita buat yang ni. Okay, Zahra and Fatimah company. Okay, so again, this is a tutorial. I assume you watched the video. Okay, but I will explain to you step by step how to do the cash budgets. Right, in terms of the details, everything, you can refer to the notes. Obviously, the notes ada dia punya, the templates, the formats, and the whole 2 hours punya video last semester tu pun you can watch in terms of the full explanation. But for today, I can try to solve this question, Zahra and Fatima company. Okay, as always, I will put the questions on the left here. I'm going to use this whiteboard. Okay, for our answer. Okay, boleh eh? So for any statements, okay, for any statements, always starts with the title, okay, because it represents the statement you're doing. Okay, so for example, for this question, Zara and Fatima company, hopefully you can see on the left ni. Try to make it as big as possible. Okay, maybe macam ni. Right, so the company is Zahra and Fatima company, and the questions usually they will put at the end macam ni. Okay, the instruction So prepare a cash budget for Zara and Fatima company for the third quarter of 2008. Okay, so there's a keyword here. They ask you to prepare a cash budget for the third quarter. Okay, so remember in a year we have 12 months. So when we set 12 months, we can split into 4 quarters in a year. So when they set third quarter, it means from July until September. Okay, so you need to prepare the cash budget for these 3 months only. Okay, notice that the question gives you sales and purchases from April until September. Okay, but the ones that concern us would be from July until September. So the marks will be given based on information that you put in for July until September only. Okay, so first things first, write the title. So from the question you boleh replicate lah ataupun you can copy. That will be your title. So for this case is cash budget for Ra and Fatima. Okay, company for the third quarter. T18 Okay. So this would be your title lah. Okay, this would be your title. Right. Okay, just make a habit to write the title because some of the questions, okay, might give you marks for title. Okay, remember dia ada 16 markah ni, 16 marks, quite a lot. So besides the figures that you're going to put later on, sometimes they might use ataupun they might give marks for the title. Anyway, okay, remember the format, kalau you tak tengok the video again, you can refer to the notes, the slide, the PowerPoint notes ataupun the PDF notes tu. Okay, so for cash budget, remember they have 3 parts. Okay, dalam notes mungkin ada tulis 4, but I segregate by 3 parts. First part would be the cash receipts. Cash receipts, we will incorporate all the inflows, all the incoming money. Second part is cash disbursement. Cash disbursement would be we're going to record all the expenses, all outflows. Okay, and the third part will be what we call as cash reconciliation. Okay, so this is how we find out whether the company have excess or deficit in terms of their cash. Remember, the keyword here is cash. Okay, cash. Nama pun cash budget. And when we say about budget, this is something have not yet happened. This is something for the future. Okay, we are actually forecasting ataupun estimating something yang yet to happen. Right. So first thing first, as I said tadi, we have 3 parts. So we're going to start with first part, which is cash receipts. Okay, remember cash receipt represent the inflows, all the incoming money. Okay, and in terms of the format for cash receipts, we always starts with sales. We're gonna start with sales. Okay, kalau you tengok in any of my notes ke my videos, we're gonna start with sales, mesti sales. And remember, the question asks us to prepare for the third quarter. Okay, third quarter. So meaning, I'm gonna put 3 months from July until September kat sini. So I'm gonna put July here. This September. try to, okay. Notice dia punya information, everything is in thousands. Okay, in thousands. So yes, you can put it in full. Okay, you letaklah kat sini, sales for July is supposed to be 460,000. So you can put 460,000. Tapi for me agak panjang nak tulis kan, in thousands. Yeah. Okay, so in order to shorten the time, shorten the space you want to use on your papers, you can put additional information in your title, whereby usually I'll put this, the decimals. Okay, so any numbers that I put here is actually in Ringgit Malaysian thousand. Okay, so whatever information I put in my statement, it represented by Ringgit Malaysia, number one, and it's in thousand values. So meaning if I want to put, let's say 10,000, I just put 10 here, because 10,000 is in the title. Okay, but be careful, make sure every items you put it consistent. Okay, consistently dari segi formatting. So don't put some, you letak 10,000, you letak 10. But later, another item, value dia 50,000, but you put 50,000 in full. So if you put 50,000 in full, it actually represent 50 million. Okay, because you have 3 decimals kat belakang. Okay, so just be careful and be consistent. Okay, so for my case, I put here thousands in the title. Right, so for sales, very straightforward. What you need to do is just copy from the question. Okay, you just need to copy from the question. So for example, July, the sales, because we are doing sales. Remember, cash receipt, incoming money. So the majority of funds for a company comes from sales when they do business. Okay, obviously the income datang daripada sales. Okay, so July 460,000. So I'm going to put here 460. August 440,000. 440,000. And September 480,000. Okay, very straightforward. Right. And notice I haven't used anything from the instruction ataupun information or assumptions at the bottom yet. Okay, I just use the one in the table. Okay, the one in the table. Right. Now, once you have written the sales information, okay, we move on to use the assumptions. And usually when we talk about sales, remember, when company do sales, not 100% their sales will be paid by their customer by cash. Okay, kita jual barang, sometimes we give credit to customer. Meaning customer can pay on credit basis. Hutang basically, kita bagi, kita jual barang, and then the customer akan bayar next month, 2 months from now, 3 months from now, whatever. Okay, so remember, this cash budget, we are concerned with the values and also the timing. So what does it mean? Even though the sales happen in July, 460,000, we know for sure this 460,000 will not be received everything in July. Okay, there are some parts we may receive in July, but there are other parts might be, you will receive it in August or even September or even October. So therefore, you need to check. Okay, you need to check the assumptions. So ini tak ada formula, you don't have to memorize. Every question will have different assumptions. So for this question, okay, Zahra and Fatima ni, the first statement here, they said, the company makes 20% of sales for cash. Okay, meaning from the sales that happen every month, 20% they're gonna receive it by cash. So what I will write later after sales is the cash transaction. Okay, and when we set cash, we're gonna assume that they're gonna receive each respective month's punya sales ni in cash basis. So meaning how many percent? Cash dia 20%. So I'm gonna put 20% ratio here. So meaning for every month, 20% of their respective sales, they're gonna receive it within the same month by cash. Okay, so what you need to do, simply take every month's punya sales ni and multiply by 20% respectively and put the values in the respective month. For example, 460, 20% would be 92,000. Okay, so 92,000, I'm going to put in July. Okay. For August pun sama, 440, 20%, it's 88,000. Right, and lastly, 480,000 is 96,000. Okay, 96,000. So that's our first statement. Ataupun our very first, our very first sentence here. The company makes 20% of sales for cash. Okay, so technically, we cleared this one. Okay, kita dah guna assumption ni and put it in our statement. Okay, if you have any question, just let me know. Just interrupt me and ask the question directly. Next, the next statement. Okay, dia kata another 40% is collected in the month following sales. So the next 40% of the sales will be collected in the following month. So what does it mean? If you do sales in July, 20% you receive cash kan. So the next 40% you will receive it in the following month. Meaning kalau July punya sales, you're going to receive it in August, 40% of it. Okay, so therefore I'm going to put another one here. I'm going to put 1 month, which represent 1 month later lah, 1 month later. And I'm going to put the ratio as well. So the ratio is 40%. 40%. Okay, so for July, for example, if we focus on 460,000 here, it's 460,000. 40% of it would be 184,000. Okay, 184,000. And when they're going to receive 184,000? 1 month later, which is in August. So you're going to put 184 in August. Okay, 184,000 in August. Similarly, if you refer to August, punya sales, 440,000, and you multiply by 40%, 176,000. So 1 month after August will be September. So you're going to put 176,000 here. Okay. And now you have one spot empty kat sini. Okay, you have one spot empty. So this is July. Okay, July punya transaction. And in July, they're going to receive a month earlier punya sales. Because as you recall so far, kita ada satu portion cash 20%, and then we have 1 month delay, which is 40% of it. So if we want to record this July punya transaction for 1 month, so we have to refer the previous month punya sales, which is in June. And in June, the sales was 470,000. Okay, I don't put June kat sini. Okay, but if you want to put June, for example, maybe because you think it's much easier to do if you have a physical row dekat sini for June, for example, yes, you can do that. Okay, you will not be, there will be no reduction of marks. Okay, but there's no extra marks lah kalau you buat June. Your marks will be based only for July, August, and September because the question asks you to prepare for the third quarter. But if you want to prepare June, May, or even October, for example, for your own reference, you can do so. Okay, but there's no extra marks. Okay, but going back to this question, so July, 1 month before will be June, 470. So 470 times 40%, it's 188,000. So 188,000, you're going to record it here. Okay, so how I get this 188,000? It's based on June's sales. So June sales is 470,000 and multiply by 40%. And we're going to receive that value, which is 188,000 in 1 month later. Okay, the following month. Okay, which is in July. Okay, clear so far? Boleh Now, that's our second information, the 40% part. We've done that. Okay, next, while the remaining is collected 2 months after sales. Okay, collected 2 months after sales. So meaning there's another payment. Okay, kalau you tengok so far pun baru 60% kan. We know we have remaining 40%. And this remaining 40% will be received 2 months later, 2 months after sales. So meaning I'm going to put another items here, 2 months. And what is the ratio? Because the remaining, and so far we have 60%, so the remaining will be 40%. Okay, the balance 40%. Okay, and what happened? If the sales happen in July, okay, 40% of it, they're gonna receive it 2 months later. So far, kalau you focus in July, July 460, 92,000 received immediately within the same month. 40% of it they receive in August, 184,000, and we know the same ratio, 40% will be 184 juga kan. So this 184 balance will receive 2 months later. So meaning 2 months after July would be September. So September they're gonna receive 184,000 as well. So kalau you ambil 184 plus 184 plus 92, nampak dia punya trend ni, the diagonal movement ni. If you add all three, 184 plus 184 plus 92, it will give you back 460,000. Okay, so what does it mean? Even though the sales happen in July, 460,000 in total, okay, only 20% receive immediately, and the balance, 80%, will be spread for the following month and 2 months after. Okay, and that's how we record. Okay, so the recording part ni yang important. Remember the rule, make sure the timing is correct and the value is correct. Okay, timing macam tadi lah cakap sebab dia split in between cash 1 month and 2 months. And in terms of the value, make sure your ratios ni correct according to the respective months. Okay, so as you can notice here, September dah complete. We have 3 information for September already for cash 1 month and 2 months. So we left with 2 empty spots here. July and also August. So as you all know, kita kena go backwards. Okay, for August, we need to refer 2 months before August. 2 months before August is June. Okay, and it's 470 tadi kan. So 470 is 188. So the first portion of the credit you receive in July. So the second payment, ataupun actually the third payment, you're going to receive it in August, 188,000. And for July, 2 months before July would be May. And the May is 450. So 450 is 40% is 180,000. And that's complete our cash ataupun collection of sales. Okay, so the third part pun kita dah settle. Alright, boleh ke? Okay, so for this question, as you all notice, dia letak all the information in paragraphs. We have 3 paragraphs. On top of the tables kat atas ni, we have paragraphs. Okay, but most of the times, okay, just to share with you, the question, usually they will put it in point forms. Point forms, macam ni. They give you a table, then they give you information ataupun assumptions in point forms instead of paragraphs. So similarly, how to tackle ataupun how to answer this type of question, we always start with sales. Always start with sales, the one in the table here, sales, and then we're gonna use the assumptions. And the first item as assumption always refers to the payment of sales ataupun collection of sales. Okay, remember this is incoming money, inflows. So therefore, we're gonna receive the cash from our customers or from the company's customers. So our first assumption always refers to this, and you don't have to memorize any, because every question will have different ratios. Okay, just read the question carefully, understand it, put it in this manner, and then multiply according to the respective months. Okay, going back to this question. This one. Now, what I'll suggest, regardless lah if the question in paragraph ke, either in these bullet points ke, after you do the sales and also the collections, next step, check for any other incoming inflows. Okay, any indication that they will receive some form of cash, okay, as inflows ya. So untuk soalan ni, just after the collection of 2 months ni, they mentioned other cash inflows are expected to be 12,000 in May, 15,000 in July, and 27,000 in September. Okay, so the keyword is other cash inflows kan. So I'm going to put other cash inflows kat sini. And we're going to put whichever relevance. Okay, whichever relevant to our table ataupun our statement, we're going to record it accordingly. So for example here, they are expected to receive, remember the word expected, remember when we do cash budget, this is something yet to happen. So we are forecasting. So that's why they use the word expected kat sini. To be 12,000 in May. Okay, is May part of our table ataupun part of our statement? No, because we are only concerned for July, August and September. So this 12,000, it will not be recorded. Okay, it will not be recorded in our statement. Next, 15,000 in July. Okay, July is part of our period kan. So 15,000, remember? We use thousands kat atas ni kan. So in July, they're gonna receive 15,000. And another 27,000 in September. So September, they can receive 7,000. Okay, there's no money collected in August. Okay, so that's the next statement ataupun the next sentence they use. So despite other cash flow, kita dah record accordingly. Okay, read on. Tengok ada tak lagi cash inflows. So how to know is cash inflows? Nama pun inflows. So they gonna use the word incoming, inflows, receive, expected to be received, contohnya. So those words represent inflows, incoming. So any incoming we're gonna record dalam cash receipts. So I always suggest after that, read on sampai habis. Ada tak lagi other items? So the next item, they said the firm's pays. Okay, this is the pay ataupun purchase ataupun expenses. So this is not receipts. This is number 2, cash disbursement. So for the first paragraph, there's no more inflows. Next, we check the second paragraph. Salaries and rental expenses, again, paid. Okay, this is not receipts. The firm expects to pay cash dividend, again, pay. So this is not receipts. Meanwhile, taxes and fixed asset purchases will be paid, again, paid. Interest payments. So all of these, second paragraph, referring to expenses. Okay, it's not as part of our number 1. And finally, assume that the firm has a cash balance, beginning and minimum cash balance. Okay, once you reach a part, a point where they mention about the cash balance, minimum cash balance, and also the instruction. So this is basically the end of information, and this information will be used in our third section, the cash reconciliation. Okay, so therefore, we've gone through every information. Dah tak ada dah. There's no more inflows. That's it. So what you need to do to conclude your cash receipts, we gonna add. Okay, respective months ni, berapa total dia. Okay, and to avoid confusion and to avoid double counting, okay, besides you underline kat bawah ni, I would suggest you to underline your sales juga. Okay, you don't want to add these 3 information as part of your items because the sales value, for example, 460,000 in July ni kan, you already recorded here 92,000 for cash, 184,000 1 month later, and another 184,000 2 months later. So these 3 actually represents the 460,000. So you don't want to add this in your July figures, okay? Or else, it's not right first place. And number 2, you double count the information. So to avoid confusion, just draw a line. And therefore, you just add the ones in between the 2 lines. Okay, starting from cash down until other cash inflows. Right? So for example, for July, you have 192,000 plus 188. plus 180 plus 15,000. So you have 475 here. For August, 88 plus 184 plus 188. You have 460,000 here. And for September, you have 96 plus 176 plus 184 plus 27. So you have 483 in September. Okay, and this is called total cash receipts. Okay, the cash receipt. So this is basically the total of cash receipts. This one. Okay, so this is our first part. Okay, just like our income statement, we record all the income and then we deduct all the expenses to see whether it's profit or not. So cuma ni bukan nak check tengok profit or not lah. We are looking at whether they have excess of cash or deficit of cash. Right, any questions so far? Boleh?
Boleh, sir.
Okay, good. Like I said, if any queries ataupun any doubts, just switch on your mic and ask. Saya tak nampak kalau ada chat kat sini. Hopefully tak ada yang tanya by chat, ada tak? Anyway, let's move on to second part ataupun the second section of our cash budget. Okay, for the second, it's called cash disbursement. Disbursement. So all the spending nanti you check. Kalau you tak sure, you check in the notes. So unlike cash receipts, cash disbursements, basically we record all the expenses, all the payments, all the outflows, right? And again, if for cash receipts, we start with sales. Okay, for cash disbursement, we're going to start with purchases. Okay, we start with purchases. Okay, just to highlight here, for this question, okay, whoever get this question are considered lucky because the question give you purchases. It give you purchases like this. Most of the time, okay, just to give you some perspective, they will not give you any purchases. Like this question, they just give you sales. And how to know the purchases? We have to calculate ourselves. Okay, for example, in this second statement, the purchase of raw material, which is made 1 month in advance, okay, at 60% of the sales value. So if this is the case, macam ni contoh ni, okay, again, if you need to study how to answer this, I will share with you the video for the other group. We will check that video later. Just to give you some perspective, if we do for July as well, so if you want to do purchase for July, so meaning dia punya purchase happen 1 month in advance kan? 1 month in advance means 1 month earlier than the sales. So if we do purchase in July, so we're gonna take sales figures, but only sales figures given kan? So we have to use sales figures for June. For July kan? For August. Okay, so we're gonna take August sales, 5 million ni. We're gonna multiply with 60%. Okay, because it's happened, the purchases is 60% of sales, and that will be our July's purchase. Okay, so if we have this kind of question, and most of the time I can assure you, most of the time they will put in this manner. They will not give you purchases. You have to find yourself. Okay, so you need to read your question carefully. Because again, this is not fixed. Every question will be different. Most of the time, always 1 month earlier lah, 1 month earlier ataupun 1 month in advance. Sometimes ada some question might give you 2 months in advance. Okay, and the ratio, it can be 60%, 70%, 80%, whatever. Read the question carefully. Okay, going back to Zara and Fatima, the purchases is already given here. So therefore, you don't have to worry about purchases when you calculation. So what you need to do is similar like sales. You just copy back the purchases. Okay, you just copy the purchases into July, August, and September. So July berapa? 100,000. August 80,000, and September 110,000. Okay, so for this part, just like sales, similar approach. Okay, so next, the firm pays cash of 10% for its purchases. Okay, so they have cash payment also for purchases. So similar like our sales, I'm going to put cash here, and the ratio for cash is 10%. Okay, 10%. So sama macam sales tadi lah. So in order to get the cash, you just multiply with the respective purchases. So 10% of 100 is 10%. 10,000. 80,000 of 10% is 8,000. 110 is 11,000. Okay, very straightforward. When we talk about cash, we just do respective months. So the 10% already done. Next, the remaining 50% will be paid in the following month. Again, they have 1 month delay of payment. And this 1 month later is 50%. Okay, similar approach like sales tadi. So meaning if the company purchase its raw material in July, okay, 10% they pay immediately. So the 50% of this will be paid 1 month later. So 50% of 100,000 is 50,000. Okay, 80,000, 50% of 80,000 is 40,000. And again, to fill this empty spot for July, we're going to refer to June's purchase. June's purchase is 140,000. So 50% of 140,000 is 70,000. Okay, again, remember the rule. Make sure the amount is correct. Number 2, the timing is correct. You know this value represent which month based on your either cash ke 1 month or 2 months. Right? So all 3 complete. Then we have this 50% done. And the balance, which is another 40%, we collected 2 months after purchases. So again, you're going to have the 2 months later part. And it's 40% now. Okay, 2 months. Okay, so again, if you refer to these purchases of 100,000 in July, okay, so 10 already done in July, 50,000, they paid 1 month later, so total 60 and so balance 40,000. Okay, 40,000 will be paid 2 months later, which is in September, so 40,000 here. So again, similar like above, 40 plus 50 plus 10 equivalent to 100,000. Okay, so the rest you have to do backwards. So similarly, this is August, kan? In the middle is August. So 2 months before August would be June. And remember, we are doing purchases, so tengok purchases punya values. So June, the purchases was 140,000. So 40% of 140,000 berapa? Not sure, okay. Guna calculator macam saya tengah buat ni. So 56,000. Okay, 56,000. And for July, July, 2 months before July would be May. May is 150,000 times 40%, 60,000. Okay. And basically, we've done our first paragraph. Okay, everything's taken care of, everything taken into consideration as part of our statements. Okay, we haven't missed anything except yang May ni lah, the 12,000 ni kita ignore. So it's not part of our period of coverage lah. It's not part of coverage. Right? Any questions yet? Tak ada? Now, once you've done your purchases, okay, and again, this is considered easy question because purchases is given. Okay, kalau you buat later on, kalau you rajin, before you watch the video for the other group, you try this question dulu. The second question ni is the purchases part. Ni yang you have to calculate yourself and then you have to go backwards, forward and so on. This is dalam cash budget, the hardest part is actually the purchases part. Okay, because they rely on other figures and then you have to go, or you have to cascade down the values. Okay, but for this question yang kita buat tadi, Zahra and Fatima, is quite straightforward because the purchases is given to you. So they save you a lot of hassle. Anyway, next, moving on, after purchases, the payment of purchases, and the rest of information, since we already checked, there's no more income, there's no more inflows, meaning the rest would be expenses. So we have to record dalam cash disbursement. So for example, we have salaries and rental. Okay, they have salaries. And in this case, rental dia pun separate information. Rental. So salaries, 50,000 per month. So when they say per month, meaning it's fixed expenses. So salaries dia 50,000 every month. And the rental is 20,000 every month. So it's quite straightforward. You just copy je. Okay, so salaries and rental already done. The firm expects to pay, again, the keyword is to pay, cash dividend of 20,000 in June. Okay, remember, June pun is not part of our coverage. So therefore, this June will be ignored, but there's another 20,000 in September. Therefore, we'll put cash dividend kat sini. How much? 20,000 in September. So I'm gonna pay in September 20,000. Okay, so that's done for cash dividends. Next, tax. Tax of 80,000 and 20,000, 25,000 of fixed asset purchases will be paid in August. So meaning there are two transactions in August. Number one, taxes. So the taxes is 80,000 in August. So in the middle ni kita letak 80,000. No transaction for July and September. And so taxes done. We have 25,000 for fixed asset purchases. So I'm going to put purchase of fixed asset. FA is fixed asset. So purchase of fixed asset, how much? 25,000 when? Also in August. So we're going to put 25,000 in August as well. Okay, already tick here. So we've done everything so far. And one more. The principal and interest payment of 30,000 and 10,000 are due in July, respectively. So there are two more payments they need to make. The principal of loan, this is basically the loan, I think. Principal. I letak principal je sebab dia kata principal, but this is actually referring to principal of loan, 30,000 and due in July. So in July, 30,000, the principal, and the interest is 10,000, also in July. Okay, so that's done for the interest section and also the principal. So we've done the second paragraph. Okay, the second paragraph done. So as I said, when you see the word cash balance, minimum cash balance, so meaning that's our third section, the cash reconciliation. So therefore, we know for sure we've covered everything. Okay, just to remind you, if you watch the video or you refer to the notes, there's one transaction. Okay, if they're mentioned in the question, please do not record in your cash budget. What is this transaction? It's called apa nama dia? Depreciation. Okay, if you see depreciation in any of the information in your assumptions, depreciation here, please don't record in your statements. Do not record. Remember, we are doing cash transactions. And if you know depreciation ni bahasa Melayu dia susut nilai, a reduction of values. So reduction of values doesn't involve cash transaction. Dia hanya dalam accounting punya statement je dia reduce in values. Tapi kita tak keluar duit. So therefore we don't record depreciation. Okay, so untuk soalan ni there's no depreciation. But can't remember kat sini ada tak. Okay, contoh in the question yang I dah post in my guru earlier, Iqbal Hanif ni, Iqbal Hanif Holdings. There's one section here. Ni. They have depreciation kat sini. Okay, they have 13,000 ringgit for depreciation monthly. Monthly depreciation 13,000. If you see this, okay, yang lain ni you kena record lah macam operating expenses is outflows and disbursement. You have wages, salary, rental. Ni semua kena record. But for depreciation, don't record it. Okay, don't put it under your cash disbursement. No. Okay, this is just a trap basically. Okay, why reason? Simple je, because depreciation doesn't involve cash movements. Okay, therefore we don't record non-cash transactions in our cash budgets. Okay, depreciation sahaja. Selalunya memang depreciation yang lain, dividend payment, interest payment, everything you can record lah kat bawah ni. So going back to this question, we don't have depreciation lah. But just in case ada, please be careful. Okay, now you have all of this information. Similarly, like receipts tadi, please add all the information. And similar like sales, purchases ni pun kita tak nak add. So I'm going to draw another line. So what you need to do is to add everything from cash down until interest. So everything here you need to add. Boleh tak tolong add kan?
July 250.
250. Yes.
August 289.
289. Okay.
September 181.
81. Okay, thank you very much. So this is what we call as total cash disbursement. Okay, this is total outflow basically. Yang tadi, number one, we have total receipts. So this is total inflows for the month respectively. And oops, sorry. So the one on the at the bottom here is our total outflows. Okay, so I minimize it so that you can see how it looks so far. Okay, we haven't done yet. We have the third step, the final step afterwards. Okay, so incoming money, inflows, outgoing, expenses, outflows. Okay, so the third section. The third section is called cash reconciliation. Ataupun in short, we call them cash recon. Okay, cash reconciliation ataupun cash recon. You can use cash reconciliation or just recon. So, for step number 3 ataupun for the third section, unlike our first two items, we have one fixed information is sales. Sales ni sama, but the rest depends on question. Disbursement sama, we have purchases yang fixed, but the rest is all based on questions. Sebab contoh cash tak semestinya ada question, ada yang tak ada cash. Okay. Dia terus 1 month, 2 months, 3 months contohnya. Right? Some question tak letak rental contohnya. So we don't have fixed information. But for number 3, cash reconciliation, we have fixed items. So untuk fixed item maksud you have to remember lah, we have 5 different items. So for cash reconciliation, we're going to start with what we call as net cash flow. Okay, net cash flow. Ataupun in short, NCF, net cash flow. So to get the respective month's net cash flow, what you need to do, simply take cash receipts minus with cash disbursement. So what does it mean? Yeah, I can see everything on the bar. The total receipts 475 for July, we have to minus with total disbursement of 250 for the same month. So what does it mean? So 475 minus 250. So we have net cash flow
225.
of 225, kan?
Yes, doctor.
Okay, good. So 225 for July. So can you calculate for me August and September?
August 171.
171, thank you.
September
And for September?
302. 302.
Apa, sorry?
302.
302. Okay. 302. So what does this represent, net cash flow? So it indicates semua positif, kan? When we say positive here, ataupun when we see positive value, it means that the incoming money is more than outgoing. So they receive more money than they spend. As you can see here, the incoming, the inflows is obviously more than the outflows. So therefore, they have a healthy cash flows. Macam kalau kita kerja, gaji kita is more than your expenses. So therefore, at the end of the month, you're going to have extra money, kan? So that's net cash flow. Okay, so that's our first item under cash reconciliation. So the rest kita tak payah tengok yang atas. We just focus the ones in the final paragraph. Okay, our final paragraph would be our other items for cash reconciliation. So after net cash flow, we're gonna record what we call as beginning cash balance. Okay. Cash balance. Okay, so for beginning cash balance, the question will give you your first month's balance only. Okay, so for example, this question dia bagi, assume the firm has a cash balance of 62,000 at the beginning of July. Okay, this is the only month they give you. Always. Every question they will give you only the first month. Okay, sometimes they use the word the beginning of July. Sometimes they might use at the end of June. Okay, familiar the concept when ending in June, they will carry forward to beginning of the following month, which is July. Okay, ending this month, so dia akan jadi beginning next month. Okay, sebab bila kita tutup account, usually at the last day of the month. Okay, and next month will be new month, kan? So the new month will be the beginning, which we carry forward from the ending. So depends on question lah, tapi mostly they will use the beginning. So the beginning of July, 62,000. So we're going to record 62,000 here. Okay, remember only the first month here. The rest ni you have to calculate yourself later. I'll show you how to calculate. So for this beginning cash balance, so what does it mean? This is carry forward from last month, 62,000. And this 225,000 happen ataupun we generate this particular month, July. In the month of July itself, the company recorded 225,000 net cash flow ataupun excess of cash available after deducting all the expenses, kan? So to find the total of the month, have to add lah. We have to add with the beginning cash balance. 25 plus 62 apa? 5 plus 62 is 287 kan? And 87. So this 287 is what we call as our ending cash balance. Okay, ending cash balance. So how to get this ending? Just simply take net cash flow plus the beginning cash balance, 62,000 dalam case ni lah, 287,000. Okay, and remember the rule I said, if it's ending for the month, there will be beginning for the next month. So this 287 will be carried forward to here. 287 will be the beginning for the following month, which is in August. And so on lah. Okay, so I stop yang ni kat sini dulu. I nak focus back to our July. Sebab July ni tak habis lagi. So, this part, kita dah settle lah 62,000. Beginning of July. And then we have minimum cash balance of 20,000. So, we have another items which is called as minimum cash balance. Okay, minimum cash balance, this is just like a policy whereby company wants to keep a reserve. I can say lah, there's a reserve just in case anything happen, they have this cash available. So this company policy is known as minimum cash balance. So for minimum cash balance, we cannot touch. We need to set aside. We need to keep it as our reserve. So therefore, we're gonna minus these values. How much? In this case, 20,000 kan? So it's 20,000. Okay, so I'm gonna draw a line here. So 287 minus 20 is 267. So this 267 is what we call is our excess. Okay, so what does it mean? At the end of July, company has 267,000 worth of cash excess. Okay, but what if negative? There's a possibility that your answer will be negative. If negative, we call them deficit. Okay, I put a bracket here to represent negative deficit. If negative lah, then we have deficit. Okay, so this is our objective to find whether they have excess or deficit, because when we do cash budget, actually we want to know whether the company can do something about their cash punya situation. If they have excess, they can plan untuk invest, for example, because they have a lot of cash. What they need to do, because cash doesn't give you anything if you have too much cash. So therefore, if you have excess cash every month, then you can plan untuk invest that amount of money. Tapi kalau you calculate, but ingat this is for the future. So when you calculate your cash budget and you see deficit, then you need to plan something lah. Whether you want to borrow your money ataupun you need to cut your expenses. Okay. To complete this, so 287 bring forward to August. So 171 plus 287 is 458. 58. Minimum cash balance is 20. So we have 438,000, 438,000. Excess also. And jangan confuse, don't use excess ni as your beginning balance. Beginning balance comes from ending. Okay, another common mistakes. Bila dia buat ni, dia ambil excess, put it as a beginning. No, beginning balance must come from the ending from the previous month, not from the excess deficit. Okay, so for September, the 458 we carry forward. So 458 plus CO2 is 760. Minus 20,000, 700 and this will be our final answer. Okay, this will be our final answer. That is our cash budget. So we have three parts. I record balik. First part is cash receipts. We record every incoming money. Second part, cash disbursements. Okay, ataupun cash outflows. Here we record every expenses, every purchases, every outflows. Make sure the values and the timing tu must be correct according to July, August, September. This question third quarter kan. Accordingly, make sure both total up and then we do the cash reconciliation. Starts with net cash flow. Find the difference between receipts and disbursement for respective months. And we reconcile everything. Ni adalah proses reconciliation. Kita panggil. So we reconcile from beginning to ending minus minimum cash balance if any, but most of the time there is minimum cash balance required. Every question ada, you akan tengok kat sini semua soalan ada. They will give you opening and then dia akan bagi tahu you the minimum cash balance. Cuma soalan ni bagi tahu lah company intends to hold every month 850,000. So tension ataupun policy ni is dia minimum cash balance. Similarly like this soalan yang ni. Ending cash balance, ni dia guna ending Ending for June meaning it will be opening for July. Okay, and the question pun suruh buat third quarter kan. So third quarter is July, August, September. Okay, so then they mention about minimum juga. Okay, what if you get your deficit? What if your answers are the deficit? Okay, there are two possible solutions for that. Number one, do nothing. Do nothing. So what does it mean by do nothing? You biar je lah dia negative. Okay, just indicates that there are possibility of deficit for that company. So when we use this option, kalau soalan dia macam ni je, meaning that information dia stops until here. There's no more information to do and to direct us to do if negative. Tak ada. Okay, untuk soalan ni there's no indication. So therefore, if you get any deficit, you just leave it deficit lah. You put a bracket here. But, okay, what if you get deficit tapi dia ada information? Something like this. The other question kalau you perasan lepas the opening and also the minimum cash balance, there's one more information. There will be interest rate of 10% chargeable if the company secures a bank loan. So when we're going to use this bank loan? We're going to use this bank loan if we have deficit. So let's say lah, katakanlah 267 ni is deficit. Katakanlah in July, 267. So we're going to have this 267,000. We have to borrow. Okay. How long? For 1 month. Okay. What is the rate? The rate is 10%. So I think you've learned about interest punya calculation kan. Interest equals to principal times the rate times time for period. Principal is the amount you borrow. The rate is 10%. And time, 1 month. So kalau 1 month, you jangan letak satu. Satu represent year. So if it's 1 month, it's 1/12. Okay, kalau ada lah deficit, then you get the interest, then you have to pay the following month. Okay, selalunya dia akan mention lah, dia akan direct you what to do. Macam ni lah soalan ni I think nanti check bahan ni. Kalau ada deficit lah dia kata kat sini, any short term financing required must be paid off the following month. Maknanya kalau you pinjam 267,000, so the amount ni you kena bayar everything next month together with the interest. How much? Interest dia pun 10%. Okay, in the notes ada kalau you nak tengok example, refer to the notes. The example dalam notes tu with interest payment, whereby they have to pay the interest the following month. Okay, but again, that is based on question which will give you deficit information. Ataupun you get deficit amounts. Tapi kalau dia excess macam ni, then that's it. This is your final answer. Okay, so it will look something like this lah. Statement Alright, so sorry I overrun by 6 minutes ni. So any other questions? Tak sempat nak buat soalan lain so just 1 hour. Kita sempat nak discuss cash budget ni. So I will upload the cash budget, 2 questions. Okay, 1 question we already discussed here. Apa tadi nama dia? Zahra Fatimah. And the MC punya question ni, nanti kalau you nak check for video for group I. Okay, group I punya session for cash budget. Okay, you can check the answer kat situ. But I suggest you try first and then check, compare your answers in that video. Untuk Iqbal Hanif ni, I think the original video already discussed this. So you have 3 different exercises you can try. Okay. So untuk Proforma, only this one lah, MGA PTV ni. Tapi I will upload 2 questions of Proforma. You can try the question. Kalau you tak sure the answers, you can go back to me, nanti I'll give you the answers. Try first, okay? So I think that's about it for today. Thank you very much. So hopefully I'll see you guys again next week. Tak sure lagi because I'm still waiting to fly ni. So hopefully kalau tak, the minimum I can do, I will share with you the videos. And I'm not sure when is your lecturer coming in. Okay, tapi selagi dia tak datang, I will be attached lah. Maknanya insyaAllah I'll be here. Not here, but yeah, I will share with you the videos at least. Okay, and kindly check kalau sempat nanti mungkin I akan letak some quizzes juga lah. I need to put some quizzes lah sebab dah few topics lah kan. Yeah, but before we do quizzes, just try some exercises before we try quizzes pula. Okay, so again, thank you very much and I'll see you guys soon. Okay, Assalamualaikum.
Thank you, Doctor.
Doktor.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doktor.
Thank you, Doktor.
Doktor.